In this video, I'm going to review these WG500B night vision binoculars from WildGamePlus, and I'm going to start right now. Hello and welcome to Best Binocular Reviews. My name is Jason. So after staying up really late on a number of evenings, as well as getting up before sunrise on a few mornings, I do now feel that I have enough experience with this rather cheap digital night vision device to offer you a few of my thoughts and opinions on it. However, having said that, for the full review, which contains tons more information than I can possibly provide on a video like this, otherwise it would just go on for ages, please do check out the link down in the description below. That'll take you through to the BBR website. Described by WildGamePlus as a night vision binocular, and yes, I will more than likely refer to them as binoculars all the time in this review, they are actually more closely related to a monocular. So whilst yes, you do look at the screen with both your eyes, hence in some ways it does feel like a binocular, they actually only collect light on the left hand side over here. So on this side is the objective lens that collects light, whereas on the right hand side this is the infrared illuminator. So yes, they do look like a pair of binoculars, vaguely, in the fact that they have two lenses on the outside, and you do use them with two eyes. But they actually the way they function in terms of collecting light, they are more closely related to a monocular than a binocular. Using only one lens results in a device that is simpler and cheaper to make. But on the downside, the amount of light that it is able to collect is effectively halved when compared to a binocular with two lenses of the same size. And thus, if all else remains equal, a binocular should perform better. Furthermore, I think it is important to point out that the lens that is used on this device is only 31mm in diameter. Now, for a night vision device where you want to be able to collect as much light as possible, this is relatively small. This, in combination with the fact that, unlike a true NV binocular that has two lenses, this is a double whammy. So why the small lens? Well, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but one explanation would be that larger lenses are more expensive, and so to keep the price down, a smaller lens is often used. Also notice the cover at the front of the lens that has a small opening in it. This is actually there to reduce the amount of light that enters the device for use during the day. This is because the detectors inside NV devices like this are so sensitive to light that you actually have to reduce the amount of light when using them in daylight. Usually these come in the form of a cap that you either screw in place or clip on. But in this case, WildGamePlus has used a hinge system that I really do like, as it eliminates the risk of misplacing it. On the right hand side of the body is what looks like another objective lens, but this is actually the IR illuminator. For the benefit of those who don't know, when switched on, it emits a beam of infrared light and basically acts like a torch for the binoculars as it lights up the scene. But to our eyes, this light remains invisible and you only notice it when looking through the viewfinder. Thus, this IR illuminator enables you to use these night vision binoculars in very dark and even completely black conditions. The 5-watt LED IR illuminator has 7 different level settings that you can cycle through when pressing the IR button on top of the instrument. You can also adjust the spread of the beam by moving the lever on the underside. So whilst not the most powerful IR illuminator that I've ever used, I found it worked well enough, especially considering the price level, and was certainly effective to what I would describe as being short to mid-range. Measuring about 8.5 centimeters long by 3.5 centimeters high, the LCD screen has a resolution of 640 pixels by 360 pixels, and I found it to be both large and easy to view. The brightness of the screen can be adjusted, and it has a large rubber face cup, which helps with comfort when placing the eyes up to it. It also prevents sunlight from entering from the side and reflecting off the screen, but this is not as effective as I'd initially thought it would be. This is mainly because of the shape of the cup, which for me left a large gap on the side of my face, and thus if there was any light source coming directly from the side, it would not block it out. By pressing the snap button on top of the device, you can take a photo of the view that you see through the LCD screen at any time. The WildGamePlus saves the image as a JPEG file with a resolution of 1920 by 1080 pixels. But like most digital night vision devices that I've used in the past, the quality is not comparable to a good quality standalone camera. Now obviously most cameras can't take photos at night, But even so, if photography is your main interest, then I would suggest that this wouldn't be the ideal device for your needs. Rather, I think you should just look at it as a simple way of capturing a memory or indeed some evidence of what you saw. To take video, you simply press the mode button on the top to get it to the right setting, and then to start and stop recording, you press the snap button. Video is recorded in 1080p resolution and stored in an AVI format. Whilst by no means perfect, and it certainly doesn't quite match that of far more expensive devices, I would sum up the quality of the video that it records, and indeed the image that you see when looking through the device, as far exceeding my expectations at this price range, and I was genuinely impressed. For more details on the video quality, please refer to the separate video that I made that contains sample footage and my thoughts on it. Now, one of the main reasons this device ended up on my desk is down to its relatively low price tag. At around $200, £200, 200 euros, this is considered relatively or quite low for a working night vision device. Now, I know there are some of you out there that will say, hey, but what about those as seen on TV binoculars that can see in the dark? To be honest, and I'll provide links to an article that I have on them, those are nothing more than a con, and I urge you to stay clear of things like that. But at this sort of price range, it's considerably cheaper than many of the night vision products that I've tested in the past, which cost anything upwards of $500. So at around the $200 mark, I feel that you're getting a product that is not only of reasonably good quality. Sure, it has its downsides, and I do go through them in the full review, but overall, it's pretty solidly made, and it actually works. I mean, I'll also provide some footage of what I've managed to capture through these. They are photographs, which you can see in the full review. These actually work. Yes, I will sort of quantify that by saying, obviously, they are going to have to be cut some way, so they don't work as well as a really expensive night vision product. But having said that, the quality that you get out of them, especially in consideration of how much they cost, really surprised me. Now, for me, one of the biggest weaknesses to this device was its extremely short battery life. As you can see on the underside, it has actually 2 battery compartments, each of which takes 4 AA size batteries. Now, as you can see, I only went out and bought some standard Duracell batteries, so nothing special. But even said that, it's Duracell and not a no-name brand. And I ended up with a battery life of less than half an hour, which, to be honest, I was expecting way more than that. So if you are going to go and purchase this device, I highly recommend also getting yourself some really good quality rechargeable batteries with a lot of capacity. Batteries don't come included, which is a shame. But again, when you pay less money, obviously you're not going to get all the frills that you would expect to get on a higher quality night vision device. So if you spend more money, quite often what happens is it comes with an onboard lithium-ion battery that's rechargeable and will have a much bigger capacity and therefore last a lot longer. So that's one of the downsides to paying less money and having a cheaper device. So as I said, if you are going to go ahead and buy a device like this, definitely get yourself 8 really good quality rechargeable batteries. Having also said that though, one sort of saving grace for me was the fact that on the side here, you can actually connect the USB cable to a power, some sort of power. So luckily I had an extender and I was able to connect this to a plug in my house and was be able to charge it or run it that way for extended periods of time whilst I was testing it. Now, obviously, the downside of this means that I couldn't move very, very far away from my house, but at least it enabled me to use it and capture some footage for you guys. Also, having said that, and I haven't tried it, I think a way that you could get extended battery life, or if you don't want to go ahead and buy just a whole bunch of rechargeable batteries, would be to connect your USB to a power bank of some sort. Now, obviously the slight downside to this is you're going to also be carrying around a power bank with you. If you had a static location, on a porch or something like that, it could work out perfectly fine. And, I've got a flat one, which I should actually try, but I haven't. And you could actually attach it even, some way to the device itself. So just as an idea. But as I said, definitely a weakness of this is just how quickly it chews up batteries. Probably a reason for this is the fact that it comes with a really large screen. So to power that is going to take obviously quite a lot of energy. You can actually, in the settings, adjust the brightness of the screen. Again, I probably had it on one of the brighter settings. So that's going to reduce obviously the time or the amount of energy you're using. The other thing to point out that I know for a fact that the IR uses a lot of energy. So the more you use your infrared light, the more obviously the shorter your battery life is going to be. But having said that, I think most people are going to use the IR more often than not. Even if you have a sort of relatively a good amount of ambient light, be that from street lamps, your house, or even a full moon. I think to get the best quality views and the best quality images, especially, and video, again, those will use more power as well. You're probably going to have the IR light on more often than not. So this is just something to keep in mind if you're contemplating getting this device or a device like it. Now, for me personally, one of the other weaknesses to this device is the fact that it records in .avi file format. Now, I think created by Microsoft in about 1992, it's still widely accepted and used. It's just a bit outdated. And so if you're going to just use this device and take the images from it and the video from it and view it on your computer, you shouldn't have a problem with this, especially if you've got a Microsoft computer. However, if like me, you are probably or going to be editing it in some sort of software, the particular software that I use didn't support natively AVI files. So I had to either get some sort of codec that would be able to accept them, or what I ended up doing was just getting some free software, which I will link to down in the description, or actually better still, it's in the full review. Just go and check it out there because I'll probably forget to do that. But yeah, I downloaded some software where I was able to convert the files from AVI into MP4. And therefore much easier to use with my editing software. So, it's just a small little thing, nothing that's, unsurmountable, and it didn't cost me any money, but it's just a bit annoying that it doesn't actually natively record it in a file format that's more widely used and accepted in this day and age. So there you have it. But as I mentioned at the start of the video, for a full review that goes into tons more information than I can possibly include in a video like this, including things like comparisons between this device and other similar night vision devices, links as to where to buy, more sample videos, as well as sample photographs, and tons more information. Please be sure to check out the link down in the description below, and you will go through to the BBR website and the full review. So other than to say, I do hope that this mini review has been of both use and of interest to you. If it has, please, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. And if at all possible, please do remember to subscribe to the channel. These things really do help small channels like this one to continue to grow, and then therefore continue to bring you more and more content in the future. And I do really appreciate it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers for now.